Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Tales of Honor podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and this is episode number 603, continuing on with our series of Living Medal of Honor recipients, which is pretty much going to take us all the way through the middle of June at this point. But I know it's a little longer than we typically do. We usually like to do 2 months at a time. But I'm just going to plug away at all of the living recipients, get them done and out of the way. This way I don't have to, I will have at least a database to reference in the future for birthdays and whatnot. So we're going to get them done and over with, and then we'll move on to those who are no longer with us. Just want to point out that today's recipient just celebrated a birthday back on the 9th. So it's kind of cool that I got to him that quickly. So without any further ado, I have no other birthdays to go over today. So let's get into today's Tale of Honor. Michael was born premature in Jamestown, North Dakota on the 9th of March, 1950. Since he was born unexpectedly early, his parents returned home to South Dakota for a month while he received care in the hospital. Michael grew up in Cavour, South Dakota, and graduated from Iroquois High School in 1969. Since his family had a history of military service, it only seemed fitting to enlist in the U.S. Army that same year in Sioux Falls. Michael went to basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington in October of 1969, followed by advanced individual training at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Once qualified in armored reconnaissance, he deployed to the Republic of Vietnam with the 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division, and it was his actions after being in country for about a year that would later earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice, 3rd Platoon, Troop D, distinguished himself at Khe Sanh. Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice and 3 fellow soldiers were occupying a bunker when a company of North Vietnamese sappers infiltrated the area. At the onset of the attack, Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice observed 3 explosive charges which had been thrown into the bunker by the enemy. Realizing the imminent danger to his comrades and with complete disregard for his personal safety, he hurled 2 of the charges out of the bunker. He then threw his flak vest and himself over the remaining charge. By this courageous act, he absorbed the blast and shielded his fellow soldiers. Although suffering from serious multiple wounds and partial loss of sight, he charged out of the bunker and engaged the enemy until his rifle was damaged by the blast of an enemy hand grenade. While in search of another weapon, Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice encountered and overcame an enemy sapper in hand-to-hand combat. Having obtained another weapon, he returned to his original fighting position and inflicted additional casualties on the attacking enemy. Although seriously wounded, Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice refused to be medically evacuated, preferring to remain at his post. Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice's extraordinary heroism in action at the risk of his life contributed significantly to the successful defense of the position and resulted in saving the lives of a number of his fellow soldiers. These acts of heroism go above and beyond the call of duty and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit on Specialist 4th Class Fitzmaurice and the U.S. Army. By the morning, Michael finally consented to medical treatment and had to be stabilized before being sent back to the States. He spent 13 months at Fitzsimons Army Medical Hospital in Colorado, and in April of 1972, he received a medical discharge. Michael returned home to South Dakota, where he got a job at a meat processing plant in Huron and got married to Patty in March of 1973. One day, while at work, he got a phone call from the White House telling him that he would be receiving the Medal of Honor. Michael couldn't tell anyone until the press release had come out in the newspaper, and then he and his family went to the White House, where he received the Medal of Honor from President Nixon on the 15th of October, 1973. He went back to processing pigs at the plant, but then got a job at the Veterans Administration in Reno, Nevada as a counselor, which he hated. Michael once again went back to South Dakota and processed pigs. He was asked if he would return to the VA, to which he said yes, but this time working in the maintenance department in Sioux Falls. Michael held this position for 23 years in addition to serving in the South Dakota Army and Air National Guards, reaching the rank of Technical Sergeant. Michael John Fitzmaurice recently celebrated his 73rd birthday, and he still lives in South Dakota. And that was the Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.